Hello, it's Claire here from My Creative Spirit. I've had lots and lots of requests asking me how I made, or to re-show people how to make the gift bag I made on Create and Craft a couple of weeks ago. So I thought I'd do a video and share it with you. I've just been finishing off a new album, Mon Amour album, and had quite a few pieces of the patterns and solid papers left. So I thought I'd use those and make or alter the gift bag with it. But let me just talk you through the basic measurements. You want 2 pieces of card that measure 9 inches by 8 1/4. So if you're in the UK, that is the width of an A4 sheet of card. And with the 9-inch edge along your measure on your paper trimmer, you score at 6 inches, and then you score at 8 1/2, and then you turn your card 90 degrees and score at 2 1/2. So do that on both pieces, and then you cut out, or you cut up from the edge to the 2 1/2 inch score line. So there's 2 score lines that you cut up, and then you cut off that little 1/2 inch section at the end there, and then just trim back those edges. And also, let's move this piece so you can see, just trim a staggered edge on those 2 flaps that you've just created up that 2 1/2 inch section to the score line, just to create the flaps for your bag. And then do that with your second piece. So you cut off the 2 1/2 inch little narrow tab and mite the corners on the remaining tab, and then cut up the 2 1/2 inch score line. So, and then just trim back those corners on those 2 flap sections, and that creates the bottom of your bag to the top like that. Let's get rid of the bits, and then you need to cut 2, I was going to say straps, but handles that are, I do 3/4 of an inch wide, and then the papers for those are cut at 5/8 of an inch. So the first thing to do is to decorate your handles. So I've got a mixture of blacks and pinks and reds, and I've cut these 2 from some 12 by 12 paper that I had left. So just use your glue or your tape all the way along. My paper will be slightly longer than my handle because I've cut it from a 12-inch piece, but the card is only 11 3/4 inches long. So stick those together so that they are nicely stuck, and then you can shape them just through your fingers. Oops, like that. So let's stick the second one. Round and round and round. Glue doesn't want to come out of the bottle. And then just centre the paper on your handles. Jiggle it around a bit. Smooth it down. Make sure that it's nicely stuck down both edges. And then just run it through your fingers, and that just starts to shape the handle. I've inked the edges of my papers as well. I did that before I started. Excuse me. And then you want to take your ruler. Whoops, it's alive. And just find the centre of the 6-inch section. So do this on both bags and come in an inch and just put a pencil mark Mine's black pen, but I can just see it. So do that on both pieces. Just come in an inch and an inch. And those are the outside edges for your handles to go on. And just make sure that you're working on both bag sections in the same way, because they fit together in a line like that. So don't flip one over, otherwise you'll be working on the same side and you'll end up with two straight edges together. So you want them both the same way. And then take a little bit of tape, double-sided tape, and just put it down on the inside of that mark that you've just made. It doesn't matter how far down it goes, because it's going to get hidden. And then do that on your second bag. Like that. And take your backing strips off. Let's take them off both. Let's not stick them together. Like that. Whoops. Doesn't want to come off. And then let's separate them out now. So take one handle and you want to stick it so that it is, you're sticking both of the front edges of the paper onto that tape. Now you can go over the middle or you can take it to one side, entirely up to you. Come down about 3/4 of an inch with your handle ends and stick them in place. And then just put another piece of tape over the top, just to sandwich them onto your bag. I'll turn around in a minute and do it your way. So that is handle number 1 on. So let's do handle number 2. So come down about 3/4 of an inch, bring the other end round, keep it flat, and come down the same 3/4 of an inch, and then sandwich those handles just between some more tape so that they don't fall off your bag. Like that. And now we're ready to decorate the bag itself. So I've got 2 pieces for the side sections, and those are cut at 2 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. So let's stick those on with the glue. So I've just used random, well, they're not random, they all coordinate, but various sort of pieces of the Patterns and Solids paper I had left over. And they're cut so that you get a nice black border running all the way around the edges. So make sure that it's nicely stuck. And then let's do the other one. And I've already inked the edges. It looks nice if you're working on black. I mean, you can make the bags out of any cardstock, any colour you fancy. But it's nice to just ink the edges of the paper so that you don't get a white core showing. So really stick them down like that. And then let's take these tape sections off, or backing strips, and stick the papers onto the front and the back of the bag. Here it is. So 5 1/2 inches deep by 5 7/8 wide is my size. All the way around the edge, and then squiggle over the middle so that the paper sticks to the card. Whoops. And then I don't think there's a right or a wrong way. position it over your handles and really smooth it down. I love this pink, it's so pretty. And I love it with the sort of grey-black colours. So that's piece one done. So you can fold it then. We'll have this one as the back. So crease the folds. And do that with your bone folder or the back of your scissors if you've got nice round scissors. And then just get a nice fold. And also crease this little tab section. So that's half of our bag made. So let's do the other half. Put our pink paper on. So take your tapes off, or your backings off. Let's put them in the bin. Be tidy. Oops, I'm wearing one. Glue on your paper, or tape, whichever you're using. And get it the right way around. Line it up with the paper that's already on your bag. And stick it down. Nice little size this for all sorts of gifts. Chocolates, jams, undies, socks, whatever you want to put in it. Just make sure that it's well stuck down over your handles. And then let's crease all of the folds. Let's do those first. And that one. And then the last one. And then decide which one you want to have as your front. Mine are both the same, so it doesn't matter. And we're going to start building up a flower spray. One thing I did cut was just an extra little piece of a pink strip or a cream strip, just to go across. I always seem to add one, but actually I think it looks quite nice. So I'm just going to trim the cream paper to the same width as, or just actually slightly shorter than the pink, and the black the same width as the pink. Nearly. Stick them both together. I'm sure if you're doing it, yours will be exact. And stick this. Squiggle, squiggle. Stick this onto the black. So this cream piece is 5/8 of an inch wide, and the black piece is 3/4. And then when you put them together, you just get a really nice black edge. Let's get them on straight. And then I'm just going to ink the edges. Just move it slightly. And then I'm going to stick it on, but I'm only going to stick the ends. And then if you wanted to put a tag or something underneath it, you can. And I'm just going to come up about 1.5 inches from the bottom of the bag and stick it across. Now if you are short on your card, you can just colour in to make it look as though your card goes all the way across. So make sure that's nicely stuck down, and then straight, and then we're ready to start putting the flower decoration on. So I've started with some ivy leaves. I love these. These are Joanna Sheen's signature ivy tangled dies. So the two little ones that you saw in the picture and the large one, and they're veined as well. So I think they just make a lovely sort of starting point to build up a spray around. And I love the little ones because they're a matching pair, so you can put them either way. You can have the large one coming out of the top, however you want to arrange them. So I'm just going to put some tacky glue under the big leaf. So my arrangement's going to just build up around this area here. So I'm just going to stick the big leaf down like that, and then the two smaller ones I can go under. Perhaps, I don't know, how long do we spend fiddling, placing things? Whoops. Perhaps just on the top there. Because I think the rose is going to, the big rose is going to go over that black ivy leaf. So let's just come out here. I'm only sticking the ends so that there is, let's go that way as well, some dimension. I don't want them to be completely flat, so remember where the bottom of the bag is. Come out like that. So that big ivy leaf is the base, and then if you want to test it, just stand your bag up and you can see where you've started. And then let's move that out of the way. And then I used the Dynamics die and the small sunflower die cut and cut out these pieces. And take your ball tool. I love these centres. If you just work them round and round and round, just going over the edge, you create a really nice domed centre to your flowers. So I'm just going to do two of them. Like that. And then the sunflower, if you turn it over and start at the end of the petal with your ball tool, oops, it just curves the petals in. So I'm working on the wrong side, and then I'm going to turn it over and just work the centre, and that lifts the sides up. So I'm going to do that with all four. So go down from the point to the centre of the flower, and then turn it over and to use the larger end, just go around the centre to lift the petals up. Let's just whiz around this one. You can be quite firm with the paper. It's because it's really good quality. These Graphic 45 papers, you can, like I say, be quite firm with it, and it behaves. So curl that one up. And over on that side. And then once you've shaped them all, then you can stick them together. So I do mine in layers of 2, but you could do more if you wanted to, and then overlap the petals. Whoops. So you might need to twizzle them around a little bit. fiddly. Keep twizzling. That will be fine. And then second one. Oh, that one's gone on perfectly. So you've got nice black sunflowers I've done, but you could do any colour. And then on these, if you put glue just on the very edge, again it's just a bit fiddly, and then drop them onto the centre. You might need to use your tweezers. They just sit in the centre, and I think they look really lovely. Just push it in with my tweezers. The glue will dry clear. Oops. And they give the centre a nice raised look. Or you could just do a smaller, you could do it the other way, couldn't you? You could do it that way if you wanted to, but I quite like it coming out. So let's go around, glue around the edge. Want to glue around the edge. And then pick it up, turn it over. And then you end up with two nice sunflower shapes. So let's pop those to one side. And I just used, I think this is just a woodware punch, just to punch out these little cream flowers, and then use the Perfect Pearls in pink, just to pop the middles in, but you could use gems or sparkles. And then there is a large rose to go in the middle of everything. So let me show you how to make one of those. I've made one already so that it is dry and ready to go on our bag. And for this I've used the Stampin' Up! Large punch. It's got 6 petals. The Tattered Rose die works really well, the Alterations Tattered Rose die. And what I've done is cut 1, 2, 3 full ones. Oh, 4 full ones, just in case. 2 with 3 petals on, 2 with 1 petal, although I'm only going to use one of those I think, and 1 with 2 petals, which was just out of the corner of the paper. So the first thing to do is take your tweezers and roll the single petal up really tightly, and then when you get to here, just put a little bit of tacky glue on the edge of that petal. Just let it flop back slightly so that it's not completely tight wound around the tweezers. You do want it to be tight, but when you take your tweezers out, you want to sort of see the centre. So let's just stick that, and then squash it and put it to one side, like that. Then take your 2 petals, and these roll around the first one. So roll 1 petal in one way, or you might want to just cut down in between them. And then take the second one, roll it the same way, and then those 2 overlap. So you bring them together and overlap them like that. Roll them round so that they actually keep their shape. They don't need to be curled outwards, they're just the very centre of the flower. Roll them round like that and just undo them. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of tacky glue on the bottom of this very centre, single, and whoops, just down in between those two petals. So you get a really nice tight centre. And then I'm going to put a little bit of tacky glue just on either side of those outside petals, just towards the bottom, just to hold them together, and then squeeze them, or just roll them between your fingers. And as long as you haven't overdone the glue, they start to stick quite quickly. Then you can use your tweezers just to sort of straighten up that centre. And then while you're holding it, just cut the bottom off just a little bit so you've got a straight bottom ready to go into the next set of petals. So pop that to one side, and then take a set of 3 petals, just cut those little wings off, cut down towards the centre, like that, and let's take your ball tool and shape them first. So I like to shape from the outside, just using the palm of my hand, and just run your ball tool over the edge of the petal as well. It softens the paper and shapes it at the same time. And then these all curl round like that. So I'm left-handed, so I'm going to start from the right. I'm just going to curl petal number 1 out, then petal number 2 out. So I'm just grabbing the petal with the very edge of the tweezers and rolling it like that. And then I'm just going to reshape them, so give them a curve. And then bring them round together. Now if you want to, you can use a little bit of double-sided tape just on the back of that petal, just to hold them. They want to sit together as 3, like that. Oops. So if you use just a little bit of double-sided tape, only a tiny little piece, you want to just put it at the bottom of one of the petals, and then bring the join of the next one round to it, and then just stick the petals together. And then you can take the backing off if you want. And then you've got your nice trumpet shape ready to put your centerpiece in. Push it right down. So let's put tacky glue on the bottom of this. And push it down into your 3 petals. So you get the centre of your rose. Now if you find that that's sticking up too much, you can take it out and just trim a little bit more off the bottom. And then just add another squirt of glue and stick it back in like that. So you've got your 3 petals coming round the side, and then put that to one side. And then take one of your large petals, and you want to cut one petal out completely, and then shape it like we've just done. So go around the very edges of the flower. You could do this on a sponge if you wanted to, or a flower mat. I'm quite used to doing it in my hand. And then once you've done your edges, shape the petals. Oops. To give them a curve. Like that. And then they're going to overlap, not going to stick this one, but I'm going to curl it in the same way. So start from one side of your cut. Oh no, we didn't cut. Cut down in between to about 1/4 of an inch away from the centre, and then you've got more movement in your petals, and then start curving. So go right down the side of the petal and curve backwards. Move that one out of the way and do the next one. You should go the same way because the rose petals uncurl in the same way. And then they should go, each one should go over the last one. So then you can curl it right up and give it a pinch from the bottom, and then it will keep its shape. And bring your piece back in, trim the bottom off, put your glue on the bottom and pop it into the middle of that set of petals, and then just overlap the join. And again, if you wanted to put tape on that now, you can, or just a little bit of tacky glue will hold it just at the bottom, but not too much. And then just bring them together. So you can be quite firm with it, she says. Like that. Let's put a bit of tape on, it doesn't want to stay. So just on the outside, just across the petals. There, that hold it. And then jiggle them around until you're happy with them. And what you're creating is this rose that's opening, so it doesn't look like a cabbage. It's got space right down to the centre. And then take your next, oh, you can take the backing tape off. Does it all come off? I think that will hold anyway. And then take your next layer, snip towards the centre on your petals. So I'm just going to leave this one as 6 and then do the same again. So shape the outsides first and soften those edges, and you start to get creases like you get in a petal, and then come in from the outside edge. It's quite hard to curve, to curve your petal up. And then shape it like you've done before, so go the same way. So grab the outside of the petal and curve it backwards. With your tweezers. If your petal rips, just go in and recurl it and curl the rip backwards. They do sometimes, it depends on the angle that you're rolling. Last one. And then just reshape it to curve it back up. Oops, we lost one. Oh, we have lost one. Let's do 5 on this one then again. So let's bring it round and pinch it just so it keeps its shape. And then glue on the bottom of your rose. And drop it into the centre so that the gaps in the petals overlap a full petal. and then let's have a full one on the outside. So go round again, so snip snip to the middle. Move those out of the way. Soften the edges first. It's alive. And then come in from the edge. I go backwards and forwards, some people just go one way. Like that. Then take your tweezers and curl your petals. Now because we're getting to the outside, you could curl the outside sections if you wanted to, or just one side. I've got a funny snip there. Roses do get little nicks in them, don't they, the petals? So just keep rolling. Roll between your fingers. That one. And then let's just reshape it slightly. Make sure that your petals all go round and overlap each other. Like that. And then a little bit of glue in the middle. Don't need too much. And pick this one up and drop it so that the petals overlap the joins, or the gaps in the petals. Underneath. It's all falling apart. You can tighten everything up once it's completely dry. Let's just move that one and then twiddle that one around like that. And then if you wanted to put another layer on, you do the same again. So let's just whiz round and do another layer. And then every time you add a layer, it just sort of pushes the petals upwards and inwards. So go round again, soften your edges and shape. Now you might want your last layer to curl the other way. So if you turn it over and curl from the other way, then your petals go backwards, and then just curl the centre like that, and then the whole thing sort of sits on a really nice base. So a little bit of glue in the middle of that one. And let's lift this up and drop it in. Push down from the centre. Then you get a really nice full rose. And then when it's dry, I'll stick or lift up those centre pieces. So that's how I make my paper roses, working from the centre outwards, just like I would make sugar flower roses. So let's take the one I made earlier. I didn't put the very back layer on him, just the middle, just one layer with 6 petals, and bring the gift bag in. And the rose can get stuck on first, so just glue on the back push it down. You could use foam tape, foam dots, whatever you fancy. I'm just going to use tacky glue, and then our lovely sunflowers. So a little bit of tacky glue on the back of those. And I'm just going to pop one up there, and one to pull that tendril up and just pop him under there, in between those leaves, just up from the bottom. And then the tiny little flowers, I'm just going to dot those about, just sticking them on with a little bit of tacky glue. I might not use them all. One on there. I like the cream, it just lifts the colours. Let's put one over here. And then just one in the corner. I'll have 5. You should always work in odds, shouldn't you? And then, what else had I cut out? I'd cut out a tag from one of the sheets of paper that I had left over, and it's just going to slide in there like that, and that finishes off the front of the bag. So I'm just going to make sure that the flowers are all stuck down, and then we can assemble the bag. So the next thing to do is to put tape on these 2 tabs up near the fold, like that. I'm going to trim it off in a minute. Getting tangled. And a strip on there. Let's trim those. So they're not sticking out. And also on the base of the bag. So just one of these tabs. Why can't I rip it? Huh? And you don't want it to come apart, so I'm going to put 4 strips on there, like that. And then not on that one, because that one's going to be the outside one, so that one will stick down and then stick to these. On that one, and 3 on this one. Actually, let's take that. No, let's not pop it on there. 1, 2, 3. And then we're ready to put the bag together. So line your pieces up, take your tape off one edge there, smooth these, and then bring your front in, line up your top and bottom edge and that fold, and stick those 2 together. And then you can do the same with this one. So if you turn it over, actually it's completely square, so you can just bring the edges up together. And then if you flatten it down again, oh, I've lost a flower. Have we lost a flower, or is that the spare one? That's the spare one. Stick those together. So then you've got your nice bag shape. And then this is our bottom piece. So we're going to fold the 2 sides in and take the backing tapes off. Easier said than done. Let's do it like this. And the other one. I should use my pokey tool. I can hear you shouting. Let's use the scissors. But my pokey tool has, it doesn't stay with the point sticking out. And actually, while we're doing this, let's take these strips off as well. So I've got to get a new pokey tool. They come off easily, don't they? So fold your sides in and then fold the section in that's got the tape on it, and then fold the section over that hasn't got the tape on, and just make sure that you haven't got tape sticking out of the ends like I have. And then just from the inside, just press everything down to stick it all together, and then just squeeze the sides so that you bring the corners together and just pinch it. And then do the same on the other side. So come down a couple of inches, just pinch. And there you have, can't get it on the screen, your gorgeous little gift bag. Really easy, really nice little gift bag, personalised to the person that you're going to give the gift to as well, and it's a great way of using up all of those pieces of paper that you've got left. So if you make one, have fun, and thanks for watching.